Alright, so in this case we've got Enfold already all set up and installed on our hosting, and I've also gone in and set up quite a few of the plugins already. I've installed Gravity Forms and Auto Hide Admin Bar, my custom functions, use any font, and Yoast SEO. And the reason I did all this is because these are just kind of the tried and true plugins that we use on every project to give us the functionality that we need. Um, and I know that there may not be a form submitted on this particular website, but I'm just going to go ahead and get Gravity Forms set up anyway. Um, and then what I'll do is I'll walk you through the rest of the Enfold theme uh, kind of configuration so that you can do your design and stuff. So um, in the Enfold theme options, one thing you're going to do, the first thing I typically do is the front page settings. That's going to be where you select what page you want to be the home page. So I'm going to select sample page. You don't have to do a blog or anything, and then save all changes. And then I typically go into pages and rename sample page to home page. Now this is how I typically do it. I click Advanced Layout Editor, get rid of the example page text that the Enfold theme builders put in there. Change sample page to home in both the URL and the page title. Now I see that there's a home page draft already in here. I'm not sure why, but I'm just going to go ahead and delete it because there's no content in it anyway. So we delete that, so now we have our home page. Now in our Enfold, we're going to go back to Enfold theme options real quick. This is where we upload a logo, a favicon, which is shown in kind of the browser area. And then the page preloader is if you want to show that kind of circle progress meter that loads, that shows as the page is loading. General layout, I typically don't change anything. General styling is where all of your colors are. So your logo area colors, that basically refers to the header of the website. So if we were to go to the website itself, we would see this would be the logo area. So you can see all of our colors are this green. And it's pretty self-explanatory at this point how to change the colors, but I tend to try and see where different colors appear, and then almost like trial and error a little bit. You can change the fonts, heading fonts. There's a lot more options. Heading fonts are going to be the ones where in the element, special heading element, which I'll show you in a little bit, that's where the headings are going to appear, as well as in the text editor. If you pick anything to be an H1, H2, or H3, etc. in the text area, those are all headings. And then the body font is pretty self-explanatory. You can choose a body font here. So those are going to be your main general styling, just basic general styling to get started on. Header settings, what I typically do is here's where I hide both the title and the breadcrumbs, so you can see when you save those changes. And then go back over here, you see home, that home link disappeared. And then I typically go over to sidebar settings and just hide the sidebar by default on all pages, go no sidebar. And then when you do that, save all changes, and you go over here and refresh, then the sidebar is gone. Now you see the footer. So the footer, I typically hide the footer and show the socket, and then if I can bring the footer back later if I want to. So the way that I do that is I go to footer, and then I go display only the socket, no footer widgets. And then here in the copyright, we actually don't need a copyright for this site. You're going to type no link in brackets, and then that is going to hide that as well. So we're kind of starting with like a clean slate. If you wanted text in here like website by data driven design or something like that, we could put that, you could just type that in there and it would show. Now the menu, I typically like to get rid of this home and this search bar, and we can bring it back later if we want to. So to get rid of the search bar, you're going to go back into header and go to extra elements, and you're going to uncheck the search icon to appear and click save changes. Then you're going to have no search icon. And then for the menus, go to Enfold appearance, or excuse me, go to appearance menus. You're going to always create, for any website, you're going to always create a main menu here. And then once you create the main menu, you're going to check that it's the Enfold main menu. And when you save it, it's basically going to replace this little dummy menu here with your menu, which has no items in it. So since your menu has no items in it yet, it's going to be blank. Now, the way that I typically start to build a page kind of looks like this. I go into Home, and I always pretty much start with a color section because that's going to give me the ability to do several things, including put like a photo in the background. I typically also start with like a 1-by-1 column layout, for example. That would give me the ability to put a special heading in. That's what I was telling you about earlier. In the fonts, has all those options. And you can see over here is your element preview, so you can kind of see like if you change from an H3 to an H1, it's going to get bigger. You can change the style, all that good stuff. So that's pretty easy. And so if you wanted to build with the color section, one way of doing that is like you can put a photo in the background. So let's say we had, I don't know if I have any good photos on my machine right now, so I'm just going to go to handy website here to get some photos. Type in people. I'm going to download this photo. And then just to kind of show some formatting things here for you. When you upload the photo, you're going to be displaying it in a large size. You're going to want to always do stretch to fit to cover the element. And then when you save it, instead of no minimum height, use section within content. I typically do custom height in pixel. The default's 500. I typically just like to see what that looks like to start. And then when I save it and I go over here, you can kind of see it's showing like the top left of the photo. So if you wanted it to show either more of the photo, one way to do it is to increase the height. And then I'm probably also gonna see how it says top left, it's like showing the top left. You can kind of do center and see what that looks like. So it kind of centers the image within the box, and then you're going to get more of, see now you can see basically like the whole image. You'd want to maybe change that font and stuff. So that's one way to do it with the color section. Now another way to do it that I kind of like is with the full width easy slider. So with the full width easy slider, it's going to kind of format it for you by itself, and it's also really good for mobile phones. It looks better on mobile phones, which we call responsive web. So I'm just going to put the photo into the full width easy slider, and it kind of looks nice. And then like so with responsive, I'll kind of show you like as you shrink the browser, it's gonna get it's gonna size appropriately. And if you were to do that with the color section, I mean, and especially if you put like words here, like um, spell that right, and then go. Now, when you put the text in here and you do the responsive thing, see how it responds and it looks great. Now, if we were to do that with the previous setup with the color section, so that was our previous setup. Now, if we were to do that with the color section, see, like it looks okay, but as we shrink the browser, basically the photo, like you're only gonna see like that part of the photo. And like, especially if you're up at the top of the website, like that would be what it would look like on a phone versus what I showed you earlier. So that's one of the reasons why I tend to choose the full width easy slider in that spot. But what's cool about the color section, let's keep our color section in here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the image, okay? But then I'm just going to put like a background color. And I'm just going to choose like this random background color. And I'm going to put like 200 pixels so it's not as tall. Then I'm going to drag our full width easy slider back into the equation here. Put our image back in. And then I'm going to change this to a custom color. I'm just going to make it white. So it'll be that white on green. One of the things I like about the color section is you put that color behind it. And now you can have color behind. Okay, so that is kind of neat. And then, you know, that can kind of get you started with the Enfold theme options if you wanted to change, you know, again, if you wanted to change the font color or anything like that of the site globally, you could do it in the Enfold theme options where I showed you how to go in here and do general styling. If you wanted to, so like if we wanted to, but you could also do it, you can also change all of your individual stylings on the page itself. So like if we had this test H3 as a specific color in our theme options, we could also adjust the color in here, which we did by changing it white. So if you adjust it on a page, it kind of will override the theme options, but if you leave it, then it won't. So hopefully that helps you get started.